Hey everyone, it's Kai from Kool Collectibles, back again for another Masterpiece Transformers review, this time MP-22 Ultra Magnus. For all your Transformer needs, click the link in the description below to head on over to Robot Kingdom. They ship worldwide, so definitely check them out. Alright, if you're a G1 Transformers fan, particularly if you love the 1986 movie, I think your mind's going to be blown just like mine has over the last few minutes just unboxing this guy, because it is a pretty amazing figure. So I'll just quickly go through the box art and some of the accessories before we get on to the figure itself. So for the box, you get the standard sort of Takara design, which is always nice and classy. Always love that standard look. So you get the standard look there, and the back with all the photos and so on of the figure, and the top with a nice photo as well. So love the classic packaging. With Robot Kingdom, you get the collector coin, which I also love. I always take it out of the packaging, so even though it does look pretty good and is very similar to the MP-10, I think. But I always take them out and put them on the coin easels and display the coins, so I'm definitely liking the look of that as well. The instruction manual and the collector card, as you always get. But this time they've gone with different artwork, which is slightly annoying for me. I like consistency through my line of figures, and the fact that they've used this sort of artwork as opposed to the normal artwork where the figure is just standing at attention pretty much. I prefer that look to this. I guess it's okay on the instruction book, and the artwork is pretty nice. I don't know if it's some sort of IDW comic look or something like that, but on the collector card I would have preferred it to be the standard look. So just a small nit to pick there. You also get two pairs of swap out hands, and you can see the grooves there where he is meant to hold the Matrix from MP-10 in that iconic pose where he's trying to open the Matrix and it won't open. And this face sculpt that swaps out is for that scene as well, where he's trying to open it and can't and gets blown to bits. So I'll show you guys the swap out on that a bit later. And you do get these two figures, one for Daniel and one for Spike. And I guess these are probably the worst part of the figure set. As you can see, there is no detail to the face at all, apart from that blob for a nose. So that is pretty disappointing. And for Daniel, the hips are a little like childbearing hips, to be honest. But so that's a bit of a shame. But I guess they're only really designed to sit in the cab, I think. So no big deal, I guess. I don't think I'll be displaying them standing there, because they do look a bit out of scale in robot mode. The Bumblebee figure, which I'll be reviewing next, does come with a Spike, I think it is, or I think it's a Spike in the exo suit, which is more in scale in robot mode. But there you have it. So at least the hips on this guy are better. But overall, something good for the alt mode, but pretty useless in bot mode. Alright, so once you get this guy out of the box, the first thing that hits you is just how big and heavy he is. He is the biggest Masterpiece Transformer that I think they've released to date. But Star Saber might give him a run for his money early in 2015. But for now, he is yeah, by far the biggest. So here's a quick size comparison with MP9 on the left there, and MP10 on the right, and Sideswipe MP12 at the bottom there. So the scale overall, I think he's probably slightly too big in bot mode, but I'm okay with that. Ultra Magnus, he was always, you know, the city commander, and transforming that trailer in an all-in-one transformation was always going to make for a bloody big robot. So I love it, and it looks amazing with all the others surrounding him. So I've got the others waiting in the cabinet, and you'll end up there shortly, but that's just a quick size comparison for you. And here's a quick size comparison with the vintage G1 Ultra Magnus of mine. that I did a retrospective on just a few days ago. So as you can see, he's significantly larger than the already pretty large G1 Transformer. So definitely a step up in terms of articulation and overall aesthetic to the cartoon. So let's get straight into the figure. Alright, so here he is up close, and all I gotta say is he looks like he just stepped straight out of the cartoon, straight into your hands. It's an amazing likeness to me. Just to zoom in on the head. As soon as they teased the head sculpt, I thought it looked pretty amazing. Just the sculpt, the eyes, the white antenna, everything looks like Ultra Magnus should in my eyes. I love the stacks on the side. Now I guess just getting one of the nitpicks out of the way as well, I've seen this on pretty much every figure in some of the early reviews, and you see these little spurs right here at the top and right here at the bottom, and you see them on both sides, there and there. So it's where I guess the mold was cut, and I don't know why they couldn't have done the mold cut on the back here, along those lines, which would have hit it from most of the view. That would have been a much better option, but they've got it on the front, so I'm probably going to have to find some sort of blue paint or something like that just to cover the white sort of plastic that's been sort of broken off on that spur. So that's probably the main nitpick, I think, in bot mode. Just going down, I guess the other nitpick as part of the articulation is that there is no waist swivel at all, and that's just due to the all-in-one transformation, really. With the cab at the back there and so on, you really can't have this thing rotating too much. Plus I think that whole section here is the bed of the trailer, so I guess they compromised on that regard without giving him the waist swivel. But the legs, I do love that they changed the legs. One of the most of the original prototype photos had the inside coloured red, continuing on from the red here, but they've painted this side in to be, I guess, more consistent with the cartoon where he had blue here and not red. I guess if you're a G1 toy collector, having red here would have been, I guess, nice, since the G1 toy had red shins there. So I guess it's whether or not you like the G1 sort of vintage toy look or the cartoon look, and I'm mostly about cartoon accuracy, so I'm happy that they changed that to blue, and left this white as well and not red, so you sort of get that continuation of the white there, which is pretty good. But I'll just quickly go through the articulation. The head rotates very nicely, and looks up quite a long way, as it probably needs to recreate that scene where he tries to open the matrix. It doesn't look down too far, but good enough for the size. His arms, they rotate very nicely that way. I was surprised that they weren't on a ratchet, since they are pretty heavy arms, although the elbows here are on a ratchet, and they ratchet fairly nicely. The shoulders, now the shoulders here, I'll sort of zoom in a little bit here. It's a bit of a strange design. It's sort of similar to the MP-10, where you can sort of pull out the shoulder, but in this way it's not really pulling out, it's more separating it from that little section there, and you can then fold it outwards as well, to extend it out pretty much all that way. You just need to sort of be careful of this joint here, because it also has articulation outwards, so there's a ratchet joint right in there, which you can sort of rotate in and out. But this particular action here, I'm not sure how strong those pins are, right there and right here, so I would probably try and hold it somehow and just click it back and forth just along that particular joint, just to be safe, and then you can sort of fold it and clip it back in like so. The shoulders, the cannons on the side can rotate, and I think they're part of the transformation to rotate around and so on, which I haven't actually gone through the instructions or anything like that to work out how to transform him yet, but we'll get to that in a second. As I mentioned before, there's no waist swivel, but his legs are actually probably part of the reason why he's so heavy. I think his feet here are die cast, and a slightly different shade of blue, but that could just be my lighting. But they have used die cast down here to really keep the weight down the bottom and not make him top heavy, which is pretty nice. The ball joints on the hips here are sort of similar to Soundwave, but they're nowhere near as tight as Soundwave was, so you can sort of move them out to the sides fairly easily, and these little side tips can move out the way to give you a bit more articulation. They go front and back fairly easily on that ratchet, and the knee joint, there's no actual swivel here. I actually thought that was a swivel, similar to the MP-10, but I haven't been able to move that at all, so it's probably just the mold line there. The knees, I find it's easier to move the lower leg by folding that part of the leg down, so you can bend it quite a long way back, but it is stopped by this protrusion at the back here. So you get that sort of movement there, and you also get the rocking action in the ankles, which is pretty cool. So you can have a pretty wide stance and have his feet flat on the ground, as you can see there. So if I just put that down, so he does look pretty nice like that. The overall aesthetic from the back is pretty, he doesn't look his best from the back, to be honest. So I think the issue with the back is widely known, and it mostly has to do with this butt flap at the back here. So if I just fold that down, so in the cartoon, for example, you can see these blue flaps, and there's a slight blue sort of section at his waist, but it's nowhere near as big as this, as it was in the cartoon. So this particular piece here does look pretty massive, and it's a shame that you can sort of fold it up and have it sit there. It's a shame they didn't put another sort of hinge here to fold it up, because from the front it does look nicer without the flap showing at the back, but even, I guess, folded down, you don't really tend to notice it too much, but I'll probably display it like that. It does sort of stick out from the side, but overall I don't think it's too bad. I'm not going to have it facing to the side or facing to the back, so it's not really going to be too much of an issue for me. What else can I say? I love the fact that they've got these little fake wheels. In the cartoon, you know, his real wheel sort of shrunk as he transformed, and I love that they've maintained that sort of aesthetic, and so you can see the real wheels down the bottom there, because the real wheels sort of stick down a bit further so that he can actually roll in alt mode, but they've sort of tried to keep the aesthetic, and I don't mind the fact that it looks like this, because I guess it's fairly cartoon accurate, and I don't mind that sort of look at all. So I think that's pretty much it in bot mode regarding articulation wise and so on. I'll give the transformation a go on camera. If you follow the channel, you probably know that I suck at transformations on camera, particularly with Masterpiece transformers that seem to take me forever to do. Even the easier ones tend to take me about 10 to 15 minutes. So I'll give it a go on camera, just to give you guys a look through on how it's done. Before I do the transformation, I just remembered there are a few features that I probably should show you before I transform it into alt mode. One being the swap out head feature. So you pretty much just try and get your fingernails in these little gaps here and pry that face mask off like so, which does reveal a little interesting feature, which is that alternate head sculpt, which I guess is an homage to the original vintage G1 toy that came with the Transforming Optimus Prime white repaint, which had that sort of look, which is nice. But the face plate itself, so if you turn it around, you see that it's just held on by a peg there, and you just push it out like so. If I can get that out without snapping anything. There you go. And you just get the screaming face sculpt, and the same thing, you just put it on the peg, push it down, and there you have him screaming, and you pretty much just put the face back like so. So that's a pretty cool feature that they've got there. The other feature is the chest here. You can grab this and just pull that up and then open these doors, if I can actually get them open. Hold on a second. Alright, so the doors are pretty tight, and they do sort of fit in there. I'm just going to try and fit them back in carefully without chipping any of that paint off. But once you do open them, you have the reveal for where the matrix from MP-10 can be placed inside there, and you pretty much just close back the chest and push that down, and you've got that look again. I think the final feature before I do the transformation is this back pack here. You can pull that down and you see a little peg there, and then you can just store your face plate by just pegging it on there like so. So I guess you don't need extra storage for that if you just want to store it there, and close the backpack back up. So another nice little feature there. But that's pretty much it, so I'll close everything up and get on with the transformation. Alright, the first few parts of the transformation are fairly straightforward. You just push the head back and turn it around, and then you grab his arms here, which is a nice feature. You just open those up and move them down to cover the fist, which you see there. So I'll just do that on this side. You open them up and move them down to cover the fist. And then the stacks at the top here, which are pretty tight, you just open that up and fold them around. There is a little hole there that you can see now, and you just peg that straight in there like so. Same on the other side. And the shoulder cannons, you just fold them out, rotate it that way, and then fold them down. So the same, rotate, unpeg them that way, rotate, and fold them down. Alright, so after that you turn the figure around and you unpeg the shoulder sections here from there. So you just swing those out to the sides. They're just pegged in by these little holes there. What you want to do then is try and separate these side sections. Now there's a peg that goes straight into the holes in the front wheels. So what you need to do is just try and separate that out. It is pretty tight, but once you get it, you'll see this. So just hold on, so you unpeg that, and you just swing that around. So you can see that little peg there goes into the hole in the wheel, which I guess is pretty ingenious. So once you get them open, you pretty much line up the wheel and you slide it in like so. So the same on that side, just line it up and slide it in like so. Alright, and then you can pull that down, which reveals this hinge right here. And what you do is you lift that up. This whole section here is pegged in, so you can see a little peg there, and there's a little hole in the front. So you just unpeg that, bring that up, and just stick your finger in there and just try and work that hinge down if I can, like so. And then what that does is that folds up to the side there, so you can sort of see the cab forming. If I can do that, and then you just sort of fold that up. So if I can just, the trick is to get that all lined up, which I'll probably try and do off camera, but you get the idea up to that point. Alright, so what you can see these little tiny pegs there, so they actually line that up and lock that in. You pretty much just push it in like so. So it wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be. So you just put that in, and then you just fold that up like so, and it all sort of matches up fairly well like so. Alright, so you see here that we formed the front half of the cab, but to do the back half, you turn the figure around again, and you just unpeg from here, from the bottom here, so just hold that down, and you unhinge that, and it's on this sort of hinge here, so you just rock that forward. If I can give you a look at that, there's a hinge, a white hinge right there, that sort of rocks back and forth, so you just lift it up a little bit and bring that up, and then you pretty much bring the whole back section up and over. So you bring that up, and then you bring, if I can actually get it on camera, so you bring that up, and then you bring that over, and it sort of all pegs into place like so, which I think is a pretty damn ingenious transformation. So that's pretty much the cab done. Alright, so next up are a few fiddly steps I find. So I guess out of sequence on the instructions, you pretty much unhinge those at that joint there, and just work that out and around, and clip that in again. So I'll just show you on this side, just unclip it and work it around and clip it in there. So the instructions just have that done in a different order. Now the tricky bit is actually unclasping these. This middle section here will fold and swing out. So you need to try and get these side things out of the way. If I can, there you go. And you just swing that all the way around. Do the same on this side. So if I can just pry these open. It's an absolute pain in the ass to do, so I've finished this side off camera. Alright, with a bit of force I managed to loosen that up again, and you just swing that out like so. So what you then do is just swing those all the way around, and then just fold the caps here down and clip those in place like so. So just do it on that side. Clip that in place. I don't think that's quite secure, but that's alright. And then you just get this hip section and unpeg that and swing it up and clip that in place like so. Next part of the transformation is easy enough. You just grab these and swing them up and around. And the same on that side. And they just clip in place like so. Alright, to do the lower leg transformation, you fold this piece down and out the way, and then I love this part where you just push the feet down a little bit there and rotate around to reveal the rubber wheels, and you just push back up again. So I love these wheels there. The rubber feels really nice and it just looks sensational. So you then just rotate that around, and this section here at the bottom then folds up and clicks into place, and you just fold that back. Now that doesn't line up quite just yet. I'm not quite sure how that will, but I'll go through the rest of the instructions and give you guys a look. So we just do the same on the other side first. So just rotate that out, bring the feet down if I can, there you go, rotate, bring that back up, rotate that around and bring that up and snap that into place like so. Alright, so when that's done you'll get the figure looking like this, which I guess is reminiscent of the G1 toy. But what you need to do then is just squeeze the legs together so that those pegs that you see there and the pegs at the bottom here clasp together, and that these pegs and those holes there line up. So I'll just try and do this here now. So you just rotate and clasp that together, and the same for the bottom. If I can sort of line that up and clap that together. So, and then you just, this is a bit fiddly because it's so damn big. I'll just put that down here, and you just rotate those around, and then you just, if I can just show you here, you just put those together and squeeze that together. And I think at the back here you will also see a couple of pegs at the back, and you just sort of push them together as well. So that's very reminiscent of the G1 toy. One thing I forgot to show you guys before I pegged them together was that the gun itself, you just fold the handle up like this, and these pegs here fit into the holes that you see right there. So just do one side and you push that in, so that clips in, and then you try and clip everything together tightly. It leaves a bit of a gap there, so I'll try and futz with that in a second. So once you get those pegged in, you come to the back and just peg these in, very similar again to the G1 toy. Peg those in and just push those in, and that is pretty much the back of the trailer. Next you have to untab these wheels, which hold the cab at the moment stiffly in place. So they are a bit of a bitch to untab. So once you do that, without damaging the wheels hopefully, you just flip it out, and now you'll see that the cab can start to turn. Before I was saying I wasn't sure how these sort of fit in with the back. Well, that was pretty stupid because they don't. This part actually swings out now, like this, to actually fit in. So you see the holes there, or the little tab there, I think. There is a tab in here somewhere, and it just fits in. So you just need to line that up and squeeze that in. So I'll just do that in a second. Alright, in order to line this up correctly, the default sort of angle of the knees here needs to be bent a little bit down, from what I found, and then these will fit in fairly nicely. So then you can just tab that in like so. And with the cannons you just sort of rotate them around like so, and that should clip in now. And I think that's how it goes. Almost done, and then you just press this little tab at the top here, which pushes this little panel down, I think, which then rotates down to cover this gap, like so. And then to finish it off, you just fold out these side mirrors, and that is it. Ultra Magnus in alt mode. My god, that was a bit more fiddly than I thought it was going to be, but I got there eventually. So I'll just grab some of the MP cars and give you a size comparison there. Okay, so here's a quick comparison against the MP10 mold here with MP10B and the cab for Ultra Magnus, which is pretty much a perfect fit. I love the red bumper, which is very cartoon accurate. There was a lot of comments on the forums and so on about why they went with a red bumper, and whether or not it was a lack of paint applications or something like that, but that's very cartoon accurate, so I'm happy enough with that. I probably would have preferred that they continued that and made the fuel tanks also red, which would have made it even more cartoon accurate. But I guess they didn't worry about that. And just to mention that the rotation of the cab, it sort of always gets stuck on this sort of ledge here, so sometimes the rotation isn't quite good, so you might sort of need to lift it up slightly to give it the clearance, and then it can rotate. So but here are some of the MP cars on top, which look quite nice. I guess that's I think it sits like that on the wheels, and two can fit down the bottom as well, so I'll just turn the guy around. So you can turn it around and drop the gates down and have the cars drive up, and I think you can untab that and just lower that. It's not a smooth transition. There looks to be like a bit of a jump there, unless I've done something wrong, but I can't see how that can lower anymore, so I guess that's not too good, but not much can be done about that, and I think what they've done so far is pretty damn amazing. So all in all, this has got to be one of the best MP figures I've ever got, and if you're a G1 fan, you're not going to get much better than that. A couple of other cool features that you can do in alt mode. I like that you can fold these back out and just rotate that around and clip that in there, like so. So you get that original sort of G1 toy look with the cannons, or you can have it as I had before, along the sides in cartoon accurate mode. And the last feature, you can push this little button here to release the cab and pull the cab off, so you can pretty much have that and the cab, which is pretty damn awesome. So you can tell that there's a big difference between the back here. So I'll just get the MP-10B again. So I guess with the design of the cab, in order to have this blue section sitting fairly flush with the back of the cab, there was no way that they could use the MP-10 mold really and have it sitting up like that. Otherwise you'd have the back wheels up at some strange angle. So I can totally understand why they didn't reuse the MP-10 mold and had to go with this sort of stylized version to have that sitting down properly, and then be able to engineer an effectively all-in-one transformation is pretty damn amazing regardless. Alright, there you have it, Masterpiece MP-22 Ultra Magnus. The transformation can be a bit fiddly in parts, and it does take a bit of time, but I guess the end result, as you can see right here, is pretty damn awesome. For just pure G1 aesthetics and nostalgia and cartoon accuracy and all that, you really can't go past this particular figure. And I guess here's a little teaser for my next review, MP-21 Bumblebee. So I hope you can click that subscribe button and stay tuned for the next review. I've also got some more Transformers reviews coming up in early 2015 with the Combiner Wars, first couple of waves of that, with I think the Aerial Bots and Stunticons. So I hope you can stay tuned for that. So thanks again, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers, bye.